You know, saying goodbye is never easy. Whether it be a loved one, a beloved pet, food, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is you've had to say goodbye to. Saying goodbye is never easy. And it's especially not easy for me to say goodbye. I spent months with this, years with this, and now it's time to move on. And I'm not sure that I'm ready, but I know I'm going to try. So you're probably asking yourself, Unky Joe, what the hell are you talking about? What are you moving on from? Well, it's something that lives in my rack and has been there for nearly 2 years now, like I said a minute ago. But now that I've grown up and I've become a responsible citizen and purchased a real Xpenology NAS, it's time to say goodbye to my Xpenology NAS. It served me well. It's been a good machine, but I have other plans for it. So here we go, boys and girls. Time to say goodbye to the Xpenology NAS. So here she is in all her glory. I don't need package center. Now you're probably wondering why I have decided to say goodbye to this Xpenology NAS. Well, the main reason is because I have a Xpenology NAS now that is more than adequate for what I need it to do. It's running my business. And I want to use this machine that it's running on, which is a Core i3 with, it's actually a quad Core i3 with 8 gig RAM. And I have other plans for it. I'm going to put Windows Server 2016 on there. So I guess get ready. Time to say goodbye. Xpenology, this one made it all the way to 6.1.6-15266 update 1. I won't have to worry about gritting my teeth and hoping everything goes well on Xpenology updates because I don't need to run them anymore. Yeah, so here we go. Bye. Bye, Xpenology. And it's, you know, it's not like we're saying goodbye to this machine. I mean, of all the machines in my data center, he said with quotation marks, this has been one of my favorite machines. It's because of its simplicity and the fact that it just seems to want to chug along. This is the board that's in it. H97N Wi-Fi. It has I can put up to 16 gig of RAM in here, but I only need 8 for the time being. We might upgrade the RAM in it, but it has a Wi-Fi support. It has dual NIC cards built into it. It has dual HDMI out. It's a mini ITX form factor. And best of all, it has 6 SATA ports that run at SATA 3 speed. So of all the machines I have in my purview here, this is one of my favorites because I can just do anything with it. Now, one of the benefits of going to Windows as opposed to Xpenology is that Windows has all the drivers for this motherboard built in. I can run 5 drives in this drive cage I have in the front, and I can still have a bootable drive put inside the unit, which is what I'm going to do. I have this old 500 gig enterprise drive, Seagate laying around, or Western Digital laying around that refuses to die. This will be my boot drive for Windows Server 2016. I am going to put Server 2016 on there. I could put Windows 10, but I just prefer to put Windows Server 2016. And then we're going to do some fun stuff with the drive. So let's go over the machine. Again, it's in a full AT Tower case. These Antec cases that just, I can't get rid of them. It's got a 450 watt power supply, which is more than adequate for, I'm running only 6 spinning hard drives. So it's got an i3 processor. You can see my spaghetti of wires going up to my, this is my IC dock drive bay. Let's come around to the front, you can get a better view of it. Right there. if you remember this varmint. Let me raise this tripod up a little bit. And I could even throw a CD-ROM in there if I needed to, but I don't, so I just leave that open. But so I'm going to put the spinning Western Digital 500 gig hard drive in there. That'll be our operating system boot drive. And then I have these are 1, 2, 3, 2 terabyte drives. I'm going to add a fourth. Actually, what I'm going to do is move all the 2 terabyte drives over here. And then I'm going to have a 1 terabyte drive in here, so I'll have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 terabytes in theory of storage, but we'll see how that gets divided up when we put Windows on there. I'm sure you've seen people put hard drives into servers before, or into machines that are going to make their servers, but I'm going to take you along for the ride so we can chit-chat. The other thing I forgot to mention is this has USB 3 ports on it. So now this server is going to actually be for my home and not my business. As you know, this, or may not know, we had called this MCS NAS 2, and this basically stored all the files for my video. My Plex server ran on this. I served my audio, music files and photos, etc. out on this server, so it'll be put to good use for the home. And I just hate seeing equipment go to waste, so that's why I want to go ahead and install it. Now, what I'm going to need to do is hook up a monitor and a keyboard and all that good stuff and a mouse to get Windows installed, because I don't have any remote capabilities to this machine until Windows is actually installed on it. And then I can do the rest of the setup remotely. And I think I'm going to go with the Windows drive spaces to handle the drives. I think that's what I've settled on. But you know me, as often as I change my mind, that could change tomorrow. So, but so I'm going to put the drive in, and then I'm going to install Windows Server 2016. And Windows Server, if you're don't worry if you're putting Server 2016 on a machine. Don't worry about drivers, because if the manufacturer has Windows 10 drivers, chances are they're going to work under Windows Server 2016. It is the same kernel. Windows Server 2016 and Windows 10 are the same basic operating system with different pieces added, bolted on to them to make one Windows Server and one Windows desktop experience. So that being said, now the other thing I need to do is, in this rat's nest of wires up here, is to make sure I have power coming down for this drive. And I do. I have another serial ATA power connector here. That's good. So I'll tuck these up here at the top. I don't know if my camera can see this or not. And then I'll bring this power cable down here so that we can power the drive. And I think I'm going to put the drive down here on my lower tier. That's why I love these Antec cases. See that? That's all there is to mounting a drive in there. And then I think the power will reach. I don't like using Molex connectors. I like using the actual serial ATA connectors. So there we go. And then we've got the data cable plugged in. So now it's just a matter of hooking a keyboard and a mouse up and trying to boot Windows and going into the BIOS and making sure I enable all that stuff I had disabled previously. I think I had one of the NICs disabled. I don't remember. But like I said, this has dual NICs on it, so it'll be ideal for the environment I'm using it in. So let's see if we can put a USB drive in there and get it to boot to Windows Server. So say hello to our old friend Drive Bender. You know, back eons ago when I started my channel, I had told you that I loved Drive Bender, the program. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it in this video, but I just want you to see Drive Bender in action. What I've done is I've taken 4 of the 2 terabyte drives that I had from the Xpenology NAS,
and another 1 terabyte drive. So I took 4 2 terabyte drives and a 1 terabyte drive that was in the Xpenology NAS and just put them into same box here using that motherboard we just talked about, and removed Xpenology, and I have installed Windows Server 2016. This is going to be my home media server, and the reason I'm using Drive Bender instead of using Windows storage pools is because Drive Bender just gives me more flexibility, and I'll cover that here as to what kind of flexibility it is I'm talking about. This has got an Intel Core i3 processor in it, the 4360 at 3.7. I have already loaded Plex on here, and I'm in the process now of copying data back from my Xpenology NAS that I did a backup of all my video, audio, and photos onto my Xpenology NAS, and I'm now restoring that data to my new media server running Drive Bender and Plex. And so I just wanted you to see the kind of throughput I'm getting, the memory usage, CPU usage, that kind of thing, using a 1 gigabyte connection to my Xpenology NAS to copy the data back. And I'm also, as you can see, this where it says shares music, I have started setting up my media libraries in Plex. Now I could have backed up my Plex configuration, but I wanted to start fresh with Plex. Not that I was having any trouble, but the Plex that I had originally was running on the Xpenology NAS, and now I'm running a Windows version of Plex. So I wanted you to see the difference on that. So not only am I copying data back to this media server, which is going to serve all my Rokus in the house and my TiVo, it's also going to do live TV. But I just wanted you to see the Drive Bender in action while I was copying data and also doing adding a media library to Plex. So I'm adding media back to my Plex media server, which I've called Apollo. And just to show you, give you an idea how easy it is to add your storage to it, we'll come over and we'll add another library to it. So I'm just come up here to libraries. Let me click my mouse on here so you can see it. There's my mouse. So you just come up here where it says libraries. You just click on the plus button, and I'm going to go ahead and start adding some movies to these to my Plex server. So I just click on movies, and I'm just going to call this one Action Adventure. This is how I like to organize my Plex library. Now I'm going to click Browse. Now it's already on, Plex knows it's on my Windows Server 2016. So I just go to the P drive, which is the Drive Bender pool, and I go to the Shares folder, and then I go to Video, and then I'm going to select the Action Adventure folder and click on Add. So click Add Library, and now you'll see it's, as soon as it's done scanning all the music files in here, it'll go up and it'll start populating the Action Adventure. And let's switch back over to the server and take a look at the impact that has. So you can see my CPU utilization has gone up a bit, not too bad. And you know, what good is a CPU if you're not utilizing it? So while it's still copying data and scanning, it's doing multiple things in the background. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me if I trust Drive Bender. You know, I ran Drive Bender for nearly a year, and it worked fine for me. I never had any trouble with it at all. This is version 2.8 that I'm running on my Windows Server 2016, and it does work well. I'm in a trial mode on this because I have misplaced my license keys, but I have written to Division M and asked them to resend me those license keys, and I promised this time I would write them down in a safe location. The problem was the license keys were in an email, and I lost some of my email when I did when I had a server crash, my mail server crash a few months ago. So like I said, I wrote Division and I'm waiting on, I have a 60-day trial license, so that's okay. But hopefully they'll get that to me shortly. But I just wanted you to see Drive Bender in action. Now what I'll do once I'm done copying some of the data back is we'll go over the drive bender interface, because I want to show you how flexible drive bender is for like storing your media, and go over some of the nice features of drive bender. So we'll come back in a bit. So in the interest of full disclosure here, you notice that the machine is behind me again, open, and there's a reason for that. After I finished doing what I did, I ran the machine for a couple of days, and I noticed every day about 2 a.m. The machine would just hang up, and that's not that's not good, for one thing, nor is it normal. And it's interesting how things come together. Just about a week ago, I was watching a video from Linus, and he came across a problem where he was chasing his tail around, and it turned out it was a bad serial ATA cable. In fact, it was probably a month ago I watched that video, and I got to thinking back of what I did different on this machine. What did I change on this machine since Xpenology? The only thing I changed was I had put a drive cable. I added that blue drive cable. You can see it right there. The blue one goes to that Western Digital drive right there. I changed that, put that one on, and then I took a drive cable, a SATA drive cable I had laying around, and I put that up to drive position 0 or 1, whatever you want to call it, because this one is drive 0. This first one in the drive array is drive 1. I was getting errors in Windows, store AHCI, and then I would get a failure on RAID, not on RAID, but on drive 0, and the machine would pretty much lock. I mean, you could still click on Task Manager and things like that, but you couldn't shut the machine down. It wouldn't respond. So I would restart it and let it run again for another day, and it seemed every 24 hours this was happening. So I thought to myself, well, what did you change? Well, I changed that drive cable. And then I remembered back to Linus's video on his issue with the drive cable. So I went into my pile of SATA cables and made sure I had a SATA 3 cable, a good one, with the clips. That's usually how you can tell the difference. The SATA 1 cables don't have the little clips on them. So I replaced that cable, and it's been up and running 36 hours now, and knock wood, I have not had that error occur again. I haven't lost any data, so that tells you, one, how resilient drive bender is. I don't expect to lose any data, and I still have it backed up on my Xpenology NAS, just in case something catastrophic were to happen. But so I'm kind of running this in a test environment, but these are the kind of things that you can run into, especially if you're reusing old equipment or old drive cables that you're not quite sure of. Don't take a chance. They're cheap. Just throw them in the trash and put a new one in there. So fingers crossed. We'll go ahead and continue this video now, but I just wanted to explain to you the problem I ran into with the hard drives and with the server locking up. And so let's continue on with the video. Alright, so I've got the majority of my data copied back now to the server. And I just want to show you some of the neat features of drive bender. One of the features I like the best of it is this little reporting feature telling you your file type usage and your available space, remaining space. Also down here, the little read and write bytes per second and the I/O requests per second, and get really good speed on this 2016 server. But if I were to click right here on this, let me show you, get my icon over there. If I were to click on this little show detailed information, each one of these is a separate drive, and they're pooled together. I just created a drive pool with all 5 drives. But if you click on this little icon over here, it gives you some more information. It gives you the drive model, the serial number, the volume ID number, and let's talk about that. Drive bender does not put your files in a proprietary format. If I were to take one of these drives out of the drive bender pool and put it into another Windows 10 or Windows Server machine, I would be able to go out there and read the files off the drive. So it's not a proprietary format. I want to get that state that right away. Drive description, I could click that and I could edit it and put it in there whatever I want to. But what I really love is it gives you the smart status of the drive and performance information like the read rate, the write rate, how many files are in that pool. The other thing that DriveBender does is it splits. Every night it runs a utility that moves the data around the drives and tries to balance the drives out and put the equal data on the drives. You can also do what's called a landing zone. So if you had a preferred drive you wanted to use in DriveBender for your files to go to first, you could do that here. You could run a check on the drive. You could ping the volume. It tells you the smart status down here, including the temperature, how the smart status is, whether it's good or bad. And it shows you the temperature and the total powered up time you've used on that drive. The other thing that DriveBender shows you is these smart attributes. So if I were to click on that, it tells me the drive, the physical drive ID, the volume ID, the root path, the model, the serial number, the size, and then it gives me the smart statistics right here in a nice, easy to read little table. But the thing I really like most about DriveBender is the fact that if I want to have some redundancy, for example, my video files, my ripped videos, if they get lost, it's no big deal. I have the original DVDs and the original Blu-rays, and I can re-rip them if push came to shove. But there are some files that I can't recreate. Those are my photos, my music. I don't want to lose those. I don't want to have to re-rip those music CDs if something were to happen to one of these discs. So what you can do is come up here and you can go into the duplication tab. And I have the ability to drill down into my shares. For example, if I wanted to duplicate my music on multiple drives, I can do that. It's very easy to do. I just select the folder, and then I come over here and I can enable duplication on the selected folder or on the selected folder and all child folders. So if I click on that, it asks me, do I want to apply duplication of the mount point on the folder shared music and all of its child folders? And I'm going to tell it yes. So what that'll do is in the background it will go ahead and duplicate those files on one or more drives, and will then make sure that you have 2 copies of that file on separate drives, so that if something were to happen to one of the drives, you're not going to lose all of your critical files. So I've done that with music. I'm also going to do that with my photos. So I just go down to the pics folder and I select on the selected folder and all child folders, tell it yes, and now in the background it will go ahead and it will duplicate those items for me. I could also do that with video, but I'm not going to do that. I don't. There might be some items under the video. For example, say I don't want to do the whole video folder. Say that I have some home movies under here and I want to protect those. Well, all I have to do is expand this folder and, for example, go down here. For example, my tech videos. I don't want to have to replicate those. I don't want to have to restore those in the event of a drive failure. So I could just go to that folder, the tech vids, and I'm going to tell it to enable the duplication on that folder as well. Same way with Trashy Tina. These are files that I don't want to have to restore from a backup if something were to happen. And then I have another one called VCR caps. So I'm gonna duplicate the files and folders in that one. And then my some YouTube videos that I've captured over the years. So that's how easy it was to turn on duplication of data. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and you'll see now that it's reading and writing from the drive. It's moving files around, making copies of them, and as that happens, you will see that it will start increasing the amount of duplicate space used for files and start consuming more of my drive space. So that's one of the really neat features of DriveBender. That's something that Windows Drive Pools don't allow you to do, but DriveBender does, and that's why it's usually my go-to program for my media server, which is what this is. So there you go. We've got it all set up, but still in the testing phases, but I I have a good feeling about it. I think that drive cable is going to remedy the issue we were having. Now, I was going to do some more information about Plex on this machine, but I think we'll save that for a separate video because I want to show you how I've got my Plex set up and show you how to set it up for live TV and recorded TV, because I have been testing that for almost 9 to 10 months now, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it and what I think the outcome of live TV and recorded TV on the Plex is going to be. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, but we'll save that for another video. So once again, we're back on Drive Bender. I hemmed and hawed about getting rid of Xpenology, but I really don't have a need for it. It worked well, but now that I have that Xpenology NAS, I've got everything I need. It's legal. I've got licenses for everything, and I feel better. And this machine is better suited to run Windows anyway because of the additional stuff I'm going to pile onto this server for duties to do. So plus it allows us to make some more videos. So I know we've been over Drive Bender before, and I keep coming back to this program because it's really well written. It's really well written. It's stable. I've had very little trouble with it. The support is pretty darn good on it. I usually get a reply from these folks if I have any problems, which I haven't. Within a short amount of time. The only thing I did was I lost my license key and they sent that to me. I went ahead and bought a triple license on this. I paid, I think, $29 for 3 licenses. So I can put it on 2 additional machines. It'll run on Windows 7, it'll run on Windows 10, it'll run on Windows Server 2012, 2016. And just FYI, I formatted those drives in the Drive Bender pool with REFS file system, because that is Windows version of ZFS, basically. It does some file checksumming and helps prevent bit rot, if there is such a thing, on the hard drives. I've never had an experience with bit rot, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But there you go. Very stable, very easy to use, and you see the main thing I like about Drive Bender is I can drill down into the individual folders and files and tell it what I want duplicated and what I don't want duplicated, and that gives me a lot more storage space. It's also fast. I mean, I'm getting about 100 to 120 megabytes per second transfer speed, which is gigabit speed. I've had up to 4 videos streaming at a time, a couple of high def and a couple of standard def, and the CPU utilization never got above 25 or 30%, so it's doing well. The Rokus I have don't require any transcoding. They pretty much play everything direct, with the exception of MPEG-2 files, and my TiVos work with it very well as well, so there you go. So that'll do it for this video. We hope you found it entertaining and informative as always. Smash the like button down below. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Click the notification icon. You know, all these rules that Google makes us jump through. YouTube makes us jump through. Donate if you're so inclined. Leave your comments down in the comments section. Don't forget, we'll see you in the next video. And don't forget, we'll see you on the other side.